AITA for refusing my sister's offer to pay for the gender reveal scan. So my girlfriend, F26, and I, M29, found out in August that we were going to be parents to our first child. Generally, everyone was very happy about the news. However, because of the shock I felt at the time, it wasn't planned, I called my mother for reassurance and it helped. She wasn't happy I told her over a phone call, which I understand and am likely a jerk for. I apologized and we put it behind us. My sister has been supportive, she helped us move to a new house, wanted to take my partner out baby shopping in a few weeks. However, my mother was less helpful. We had a FaceTime mid-August about housing options, then my mother randomly asked me about if my partner was on the pill. I said yes and I've seen her take it, and she asked if I was sure. Almost like she was insinuating that I was baby-trapped. I have had worries about my sister. I'm happy she's excited, but I feel sometimes she's too much. She was talking about having the baby every weekend so we could do stuff as a couple, and I said we have to consider both families. She was also concerned about us moving a bit closer to my girlfriend's family than mine. She said I wouldn't get as much support and questioned the support from my partners as her mother lives 2 hours away. I said she comes down every weekend to look after her mother with dementia, we'll be fine. My sister offered to pay for our gender reveal scan. We both thought this was a lovely gesture and said yes. My sister understandably wanted to come because she's paying for it. My sister told me that the one she was booking allowed up to 5 people to come and suggested we bring my mum along. I then said if she's coming, then my girlfriend's mum should come too. She disagreed because it's the only involvement they'll have during the pregnancy and my girlfriend's family will be at other events. We said it's not about who we're including, it's about having support during a personal appointment, and my girlfriend doesn't want only all my family there. My mum previously said either it's just my family or no scan. I said fine, we'll pay for it ourselves. My sister then messaged my girlfriend to explain her reasoning, which left her in tears. She also said my family like to do things separate and they're a bit antisocial. They think meeting my girlfriend's mum at the scan will be awkward. We think this kind of reasoning is selfish and not putting our wishes first. My mum and sister are getting me to understand their reasoning. I do understand it, I just don't agree with it. My girlfriend's mum isn't bothered by them not wanting her there, just more by how it's affected us. She told me not to worry about them and hugged me. She said she's happy to pay for it and for me to invite whoever I want. This is a post here because despite many agreements about our side of things, I have doubt because my sister was going to pay for it. And I was considering my dad, but my girlfriend's mum believes that would anger my family. Edit, to elaborate on a few things. The phone call with my mum, it wasn't an initial reaction of how dare I tell her on the phone, she was happy, said congrats based on if we were deciding to keep it at the time. It was only found out she wasn't too happy when we recorded my sister's reaction, and at this event, I told my mother that I was driving to my dad's to see him the next day. My mum doesn't think my dad does enough for me. We see each other rarely in person, maybe like once or twice a year, but we get on fine. It was his first time being a grandfather and my mother's 4th time. My sister has 3 kids already. She's desperate for a 4th of her own, but my bill keeps telling her no. My mum, when I mentioned this, suggested just FaceTiming him, but I said no, and then she said, so he gets a live surprise and I get a phone call. I told her I needed initial support and sorry she found out this way. People have asked what's the situation with my dad. Him and my mum have been divorced for 24 years. He wasn't the kindest to my mother at the time, and I had a stepmother who kept driving a wedge between my dad and I, who has been out of the picture for a few years now. I've told him about this situation and he thinks they're being ridiculous. I get people telling me I need a backbone, and yeah, it's something I've worked harder in therapy to get over. To provide a little backstory, I was an impressionable kid who was suspected of autism at a young age. My mum refused to take me to get assessed because she felt at the time that I should learn alongside the other neurotypical kids. This obviously didn't work because I constantly questioned myself, and with the aid of people like my sister reminding me of little mistakes I made, it continued to knock my confidence back. It was only until a breakup which happened when I was 23 and a downward spiral of depression did I get more help. Doctors said I didn't have autism but more anxiety. Mom and sister insist I do because they think I'll get more support. But linking it with stuff in this post, it feels like grooming. And I have pushed back on several occasions to just let me be. I'd get comments about how something I did was an autistic thing which I said stop to. My sister has 2 kids diagnosed with autism and 1 kid with ADHD, and she works for an autism charity. I went on Prozac after being diagnosed with anxiety and depression. I was also with an ex at a different time and saw subtle controlling methods through that, and we didn't work out afterwards. That was something my family helped me through, but I'm getting that narcissistic people can often not get along with other narcissistic people because they'll try and expose the other person to make themselves look better. So my growing up was conflicted because on one hand, there was nitpicking and on the other, care that seemed genuine. My mom has also suffered abusive relationships and grieved through the death of a partner, so I pinned weird behavior on that. Same with my sister who had a stillbirth. There's a comment somewhere in here which explains a list of stuff my sister did a few years ago which stopped her going to my mom and stepdad's wedding. And now I'm with a beautiful human being to start a family with, and while it's a shame my family couldn't be cooperative and understanding, she and our baby come first and we need each other first and foremost. No one is dictating to us about who cares for them or anything else. I called my mom out for what she said about the baby trap. She apologized to me but not to my partner, who overheard the conversation. Ever since then she's been distant. Writing this now, I'm wondering to myself why I'm even letting her come to the scan if my partner's mum comes after her behavior. My mum backpedals a lot, says something that would annoy or upset someone and then says it was a joke. I have since told her there was backpedaling but she's denied it. My mum's weird views on separating from my partner's family stems from her own anxiety, I believe. We believe she's on the spectrum but she's in denial about it. We've seen moments of her having some sensory overload moments, being obsessed with specific topics, mostly conspiracy theories, lack of a filter at times and struggle to see things from others' point of view. My sister, I believe, wants to be seen as the best guardian, very possibly parents, and sees her family as a threat. Update: AITA for refusing my sister's offer to pay for the gender reveal scan. Hi all, quick update, but a fair bit has happened in the last 24 hours, and it isn't good. First of all, thank you to everyone for your advice, I took it on board. Especially the stuff about setting our boundaries now and not taking any more manipulation. There was some people questioning the need for a reveal scan. We just thought it would be nice for our first child. I understand that's not for everyone's liking, but that's what we want to do. Anyway, my sister called me on Sunday. I explained that my girlfriend should be allowed to have whomever she wants there. She reiterated the awkwardness of it at the scan, so I suggested a coffee meetup which she said she'd chat to my mum about. My mum turned it down and said it was too formal. In her words, I'm sure I'll meet them someday. She suggested we have 2 separate scans for each of the family. I turned this down because I thought it was gross. My girlfriend is not a test subject for other people's enjoyment. Then I said we'll book our own and invite who we want or have it just us. She then turned passive-aggressive and said, fine, you do what you want, I've been nothing but supportive and my girlfriend is gonna want her family there for everything. I said this isn't true. She said she wants both families involved. Knowing that they'd continue to try and make offers for the scan, I sent them a long message to both of them in a group chat. I've added the screenshots on the Insane Siblings subreddit which you can see on my profile. And as you can see in the reply from my sister, she attempted to gaslight me into feeling bad. After she said we part ways, I blocked her on everything. I'm not having that kind of influence in my life and certainly not subjecting my girlfriend to it. Especially if they're not going to respect our boundaries. My mum called me a short time after and told me my message was condescending, cold and formal and didn't understand why I was overreacting about the scan. Told me to not interrupt. Even a message I sent to her which was among the same lines as the one in the screenshot. I told her it's not just about the scan, it's about her over-involvement in general. Clearly my sister left details out because she didn't know about my sister wanting to look after the baby every weekend and being insecure about the support from my girlfriend's family. She said we should all meet up to chat. I'm not having them bully me though. If I'm there to chat, I'm having someone in my corner. She said she didn't want us arguing, but I said the ball is in my sister's court. My mum is attempting to play peacekeeper and has sided with my sister's erratic behavior, so neither of them I really trust. As for the scan, my girlfriend and I have booked our own scan and we're having a reveal party next weekend where everyone is welcome. Although right now, I'm not inviting my mum and sister. I've explained the situation to my dad and he's disgusted at them. My sister and I have different dads. Edit, sorry I forgot to add, you're right that I should not have apologized to my mum for how I broke the news to her. She often comments on how my dad doesn't come down to see me and it's mostly me going up there. My dad and I do talk, and when I go up there, he often wants to pay for everything, no questions asked. I don't take this for granted, of course. I get rounds of beer into or chip in for the takeaway. Either way, I'm happy with the relationship my dad and I have. We've had issues in the past, but we move forward. Also re-uploaded a screenshotted text message reply from my sister to my profile since it keeps getting taken down on the sub for spam. Although Reddit kept blanking the images, so I've added an imager link in them.